Morning, my friends. It is just about 5. I think it's a minute before 5. Any second now, I should have a cat come running in as she hears me talking for the first time this morning. Although I've been up for quite some time. It's about a little before 2:30 today. Um, I generally don't talk, as there's no need to, uh, until I come here. Or I have an encounter with my cat and I say good morning to her, one of my cats at least. Um, as I mentioned before, I'm up and then it's breath work. Actually, now that I think about it, it's not necessarily true. As when I say thank you, I say it out loud because I like the thought of the vibratory experience of thankfulness being extended out into the world. So we are still with A Course in Miracles. We are with the interpretation of of the Tao Te Ching. Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, which is a book by Wayne Dyer. And it is his, not translation of the Tao, but his interpretation of the Tao and suggestions and how to allow it to be expressed within our lives. So we're at verse 41. Verse 41 puts us 40 away. There is 80 chapters, 80 verses of the Tao Te Ching. So let's go right into verse 41. A great scholar hears of the Tao and begins diligently practicing. A middling scholar hears of the Tao and retains some and loses some. An inferior scholar hears of the Tao and roars with ridicule. Without that laugh, it would not be the Tao. So there are some constructive sayings on this. The way of illumination seems dark. Going forward seems like retreat. The easy way seems hard. The power, true power, seems weak. True purity seems tarnished. True clarity seems obscure. The greatest art seems unsophisticated. The greatest love seems indifferent. The greatest wisdom seems childish. The Tao is hidden and nameless. The Tao alone nourishes and brings everything to fulfillment. So it's always the Lao Tzu sum things up on those last two lines. The entire verse is summed up in those last two lines. The Tao is hidden and nameless. The Tao alone nourishes and brings everything to fulfillment. So in the last two lines there, at the beginning of the 41st verse, he says, an inferior scholar hears of the Tao and roars with laughter and ridicule. Without that laugh, it would not be the Tao. What is significant to note is how everything belongs. Every seeming contrast, every seeming paradox, every seeming contradiction is all part of the Tao. So as we go through life, if we were to say this but not that, we would both be right and we would be wrong. That it's always this and that. And man, life, people, society, friends will always try to give us a choice, this or that. When the answer is always this and that, as it's the fullness, it's the expression of the Tao Te Ching, that we don't have to choose this or that. In truth, we don't choose at all. That, as the Tao says, nothing gets done. There's no doer, and yet nothing gets done. The Bhagavad Gita says that there's no doer. We have the right to our actions, but not the results of our actions, not the fruition of our action. That belongs to God himself, belongs to God herself, belongs to life, belongs to the unknown, to the ineffable. We don't really have to have a name. It's useful, but every name is someone's going to quibble with it. If you say God, someone's going to say there's no God. If you say life, someone's going to say, don't you mean God? Again, it comes down to um, this and that. That if you believe this, it means you don't believe that. It's just not that case at all. I very often have people come in and want to talk to me about my relationship with God, my relationship specifically with Jesus, which of course is personal. I'm not a Christian. However, does that mean I can't have a relationship with Jesus? Can I not see Jesus as a divine friend that is offering salvation to me personally through my forgiveness of the projections of the world? That I project names and concepts, labels, as I project thoughts of separation, as I project a world in turmoil. And yet, I have the guidance, the kind hand, the lovingness, the loving awareness of my true self personified as Christ. And I get to forgive and forgive and forgive. And as I forgive, all those fragmented thoughts are healed. And I begin to see the implicit order, as the physicist David Bohm called it, the implicit order, the oneness, consciousness, always extending and extending and extending. William's here. William says, good morning, Yogi. Good morning, William. How are you? Parker Point says, good morning, Yogi and William. It's amazing where you find these little synchronicities, how something resonates. Yesterday, reading verse 40, I came across a little phrase from St. Paul's letters to the Corinthians that I had overlooked before, and it just seems so fitting. Today, from the German poet Rainier Marie Rilke, behind the world are names and clothes is the nameless, our true archetype, and home. Try to read that a little slower so it makes sense. Behind the world are names and clothes is the nameless, our true archetype and home. So I was talking about this yesterday, the difference between projection and extension. Projection is giving names to everything, which can be useful. Because if I'm giving someone directions and I say, take a left at that tree, take a left at that elm tree, and that's helpful. If I were to say, just take a left, the question would be where. So nothing, when we say look past the ego, when we say look past the world of form and name and labels, it doesn't mean to not use them because they're useful. It means to see beyond appearances. That beyond the world are names and clothes. There is a nameless world. The world itself, a world without concepts. That's our true archetype, and that's our true home, and that is the Tao. The Tao being nameless, formless, and yet everything exists within the name. And a lot of Tantric traditions and a lot of Vedic traditions, it's simply called the Absolute. Everything stemming from the Absolute. For me, it's always a beautiful experience to just let go and let go and let go and live from that nameless place. And then, of course, when I do, immediately, all the names come rushing back in. It seems that life, the universe, abhors the void, and yet a void is all we have. So we don't need to contradict ourselves. We don't need to, if someone says, do you live beyond thoughts? Do you live beyond concepts? Through all these years of meditation, do you reside in that internal and eternal silence from the Absolute? And my answer is absolutely yes. Does that mean I'm awake and enlightened? Absolutely no. It's both. I reside in that realmless realm, in that silence, because that's all there is. And yet, I have thoughts, and I have labels, and I have concepts. I have opinions, and I have beliefs. I just don't take them quite as seriously as I used to any longer. Just bring up one thing before I say goodbye. This might be one of Rumi's most famous lines. Give me 1 second. Well, let's do two. I absolutely love reading Rumi. Rumi, the I believe 12th century Persian Sufi poet. And here he says, "Do you not feel lonely? The entire universe is inside you." But this is the one I'm looking for. If I can find it. There it is. I'll read this, maybe comment on it, and I'll say goodbye for now. I'll be back. I'm going to take my walk in just a minute. This is from Rumi. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing, right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. So what Rumi is saying is, out beyond the idea of right and wrong, there is a field. I'll meet you there. Meet you there. The field is our infinite beingness. That right doing, wrong doing is an idea. It's a concept. It doesn't truly exist until we form that thought within our mind. But beyond that thought, beyond the ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, beyond labels, beyond concepts, beyond belief and opinion, there is a field, the infinite field of love, the infinite field of the Tao, the infinite field of Krishna, Christ consciousness, love, absolute love, God. There is a field. That's the field. And I'll meet you there. Meaning, we meet each other there in the seamlessness of who we truly are. And we meet our truest self, which is there. Hey, Brian Lane is here. Brian says, good morning, Eric. Brian is up awful early. Brian is in St. Louis. He's in the Midwest, so he's an hour behind. So it's just after 4 o'clock. Nice to see you, Brian. Optimob is here. Timo says, good morning. I am driving and listening. Thank you, my friend. Much appreciated. Yeah, that might be one of Rumi's most famous lines, his most famous poems. I'll read that one more time. I might even read it 2 more times. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. So that's where we all meet. Brian says, yeah, I've been doing a little meditation early in the morning. Best time to meditate. I just don't always get on social. I understand that. Yeah, my meditation usually starts at about 2:30. Breath work and then meditation. Then I'm downstairs. I do my yoga. Puts me right in that receptive mode where I can sit and write and drink my cup of coffee. I find that when I write after I meditate, trying not to bring any concepts into my mind until after I've meditated at the very least. Everything is fresh and I'm receptive to whatever it is that the morning wants to whisper to me. And the morning always whispers something. Our friend Night Watcher is here. Night Watcher, hello. How are you? Brian says, yeah, I have 4 o'clock here, 4:13. Yeah, it's almost time for me. I'm going to get outside and take my walk. The sun's getting up a little later each morning, and it won't be up. I think it's going to be almost 5:45 or past that. So yesterday I came across an owl, took a little video, but it was just still not quite light enough where I captured it. I have a new camera. It's not a monocular, it's actually binoculars that has infra night vision. And I'll be starting to use that soon. So it's going to be pretty cool to see what I get at night. And I'm looking forward to when it gets dark and stays dark until like 7, what I'm going to be able to see at night that I've been missing right now. Brian says, wish everyone a great day. You too, Brian. All right, with that, guys, I'm going to head outside and uh, start my walk. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Hope everyone has a good morning, good day at work. Be safe, and be open. Hey, remember what Rumi says, out beyond the idea of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. That's where we are, guys. We're in that field. That's where we meet. Night Watcher says, see you, Yogi. Take care, Night Watcher. Appreciate you stopping by. Optimob, I appreciate you stopping by. And Eric, thank you. I'll see everyone if you're around later today. Take care, guys.